Hi everybody, this is Mary Kay and we're painting a yellow and purple Lake Michigan winter scene today. This is a picture from a Toys for Tot calendar. It also, it was sitting on the kitchen table and I like the yellow and the purple because we've had yellow skies in California for the last few weeks. And it just I just kind of like it. It also reminds me of a painting, an oil painting I did when I was a teenager that was these same colors. It was a long skinny thing and my brother had it in his house for a long time. So I guess I've sort of always been attracted to these colors. So that's what I'm going to paint from is that. And then this was a sample painting that I did. It's not, not quite the same. This almost kind of looks like trees, but it's really supposed to be like ice crystals hanging down. But even if we don't know what it is, I think it's a nice kind of catches your eye, then your eye goes up in here. So we're going to give this a shot. Here's my piece of paper. So the first step that I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw. Got an airplane going overhead, you probably can hear that. I'm just going to draw out the rocks and the purple hill and sort of this horizon line. It's not even really clear that this is the horizon line, and then I think there's a gap, and then there's some dark clouds. So then that's less than the half. This one here is a little right about the half. So I think I'm going to just drop it down a little bit and squish that purple stuff a little smaller. So here's my horizon line is going to be here. And then the gap, and then the clouds up there. So coming over this side, we have these nice dark rocks. We don't want to make them look like loaves of bread. They're rocky, and they make funny shapes. And down here, and I think there's a rock in there. And then there's just this kind of purple ice. I personally have never seen anything like this, but and then this purple hill here. I wish Elaine were with us today because she's the one that always says everything looks like boobs, and that one really does look like a boob. And I don't know how to not make it look that way, so I think I'm going to give it a try. So I definitely want to start it higher than the horizon line and then bring it down. And then this comes over here past this one, and I like that I like that. Right there, that spot. So that's my drawing. This in here is where the ice crystals are. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is wet the sky and the water in here. So that's all the yellow. I'm going to wet all the yellow. This is my 3/4 inch flat brush, which I like to use on an 8 sheet. I'm using a piece of 200 today instead of 140 because I'm kind of running low on 140 and because I couldn't find a clean spot to cut it. That is the lamest excuse I have ever heard, but I'm going with it. And so I've wet everywhere that's going to be yellow. And then I see a little bit of shining yellow kind of just in here, just in this little spot here. I'm going to wet that just a tiny bit and put a little yellow there when I get this all in. I'm going to dry the edges. The yellow that I'm going to use first is going to be raw sienna. And I still have a little bit of gold in that spot. Raw sienna is a great pigment to use on yellow and orange skies because it's a heavy pigment and it goes into the little bumps in the paper. So you have to work it well on your palette though, because if you don't, you'll get little chunks. So I'm just putting that on first. Then I can just go as crazy as I want to go after this. I have a little bit of quinacridone gold, so I'm going to put it on next. I'm just kind of doing long brush strokes across. Now I'm going to go to Bumblebee Yellow. And I put it where it's really light in the photograph. And I'm just playing really. It doesn't look exactly like the photograph. It's very much okay with me. I'm going to add just a tiny bit of burnt sienna to the quinacridone gold petal now. It would work just as well into this bumblebee petal if you don't have quinacridone gold. And I'm going to try to paint where I see these clouds. I have a little bit in the lake down here in this spot. There's two more things I want to do to the sky. One of them is that I want to charge in some bright yellow. So my bumblebee yellow, and I want to have it kind of wet. I just added another half brush full of water to that little petal. And because there's these little clouds that are kind of little white light spots in the dark. So what I want to do is just add some of these. I'm just touching with the corner of my brush, and it's called charging. So I know that I have more pigment and more water in my paintbrush right now than is on the paper. So this is called charging. And you can see that it's kind of chasing the other paint away from it, and it's making those little spots. Now I was really good at putting them a ½ an inch apart all the way across. So I'll try to change it up a little bit so there's a bigger one there, and maybe, okay. I could put a little streak up here too. That's enough. Then the last part of the sky that I want to do is I want to add a little purple to the top. So the purple that I'm going to make is going to be French ultramarine blue and permanent rose. So I forgot to add the yellow at the bottom. I'll get back to it. Okay, permanent rose. All right, there's purple. I am just going to bravely put in a streak across the top and a little bit down here. so that there's a little purple in the top of my sky. So here I go. And then I just have to stop and go, okay, that's good enough. And let it do its little, whatever it's going to do. I'm not in charge anymore. And I forgot to put that little bit of yellow right in here at the top of this ice. So I'm going to go back in, clean my brush out, get the purple out, get the yellow back in, and set it down here. Let's put a little bit in right here. And then we'll go over the top of that later. Okay, so that's the sky and the ocean. I'm going to dry it now. So I'm going to start the purples now. And this is the darkest purples back here, and then medium, and then these are very pale in front, except for those little dark spots there. So I think I'll start with the foreground, the medium purples, and then go back in and put those dark ones, see how it goes. So I'm going to use that same color that I used to sort of put a streak across the top of the sky. And I'm going to add more water. And I'm going to try to leave a little bit of white paper kind of at the top of this first part here. See how there's kind of a white line across that? So I'm going to leave a little white area, not paint right up to my line. I'm just going to fill in this bottom with this really pale purple. Now you can see that that yellow really kind of shows up right now. Great time to sign my name. I think I'll do it on the left side. I'm just going to go over that again with a little more pale purple, and that'll make my name pop out. Adding a little more layer over the purple here. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to paint negative up from the line, and that'll leave a little white area. So I think I'll switch brushes. I'm going to go to my 10. I'm going to make a little more purple paint. So again, French ultramarine blue and permanent rose. That is much pinker. That's too blue. I'll get there. If you want to add a little bit of either cerulean or manganese blue into this, you can. I think it looks good to have a little of that blue hiding in there too. So I'm going to paint negative. I'm going to start on this line here. And I'm going to paint up with water. I'll get to that one. Now it's maybe a little bit too big, that highlight, that white highlight, and we'll just tone it down a little bit. Let's put a little paint over it. And now it looks, yeah, it's better. I'm gonna do the same thing in here. Start at the bottom. And then I'm gonna add water and paint up to the top of that, whatever it is. I don't know ice that well. Same thing over here. Like that little bit of blue in it changes it up. Now the top of this mountain is pretty dark, so I'm going to add a lot more pigment to it, and maybe even a little burnt sienna. So French ultramarine blue and burnt sienna, a little bit more burnt sienna, and there it went a very dark purple. And that's, I'm going to put a little bit more permanent rose in it. Up to pink. Oh, that's good. I like that. There we go. There it is. So now I'm painting the top of this mountain. I'm going to paint it positive. I'm going to try to cover up all my little white spots. I'm going to rinse my brush out and then just soften this bottom with water. Kind of see what it does. I guess it kind of looks like ice. I see another little purple hill right there. I'm going to add that now. So it's the same color as the top of that one. Again, I'll just add a little bit of water at the bottom of that. Okay, that one's done. I'm going to leave those alone. And now I'm going to go over here and work on these guys. And that's the same color, but there's a lot more burnt sienna in them. So they're almost sepia, which we're going to make ourselves. So it's, oops, that was Antwerp. There's no Antwerp in this picture. Ah, I can't believe it, but there isn't any. That's pretty close right there. That's very dark paint. And it's for these mountains over here. I want to make them choppy and not loaves of bread, as Kathy Bob used to say. And this little rock out in the lake, flat on the bottom, there's purple under it. And then there's kind of some another rock. I'm not quite sure what this is. I'm just going to paint what I see, which is kind of another rock right there. Now I'm going to go back to that light purple and sort of just paint the bottom of this dark with that color. I'm going to go more purple. Now I see in the photograph, all of a sudden I see yellow right where I'm pointing with my pencil. And I don't have any there, but it's in the photograph and I think it looks good there. So I'm going to clean my brush really, really well and get some yellow and put it in there without touching the purples much. Maybe a little bit of the burnt sienna part. I think that needs a few brush strokes down in here. And it also needs this part right here, this white area needs to be purple. So I'm going to add water to that and get this to be more purple. So those white areas that I left white, now I'm just putting a real pale purple over them. So they look like a highlight instead of a white line. Oops, although that was dark. Okay. So I think there's some like ice in here. So I think I need to put some purple right into the lake here. Not sure what it is, if it's rocks or a shadow or what. I think I'm going to put a little reflection in there. That's looking pretty crazy. But that's what we were going for, something that looks like it's from Mars. So good. I think the last thing I'm going to do is right in here, I'm going to do some darks. Like I said, it's supposed to be like looking into icicles, but we'll see. If my other one looks like trees, but I'm going to try. So this is the dark color, just that puddle. I just mixed it all together now. And I'm going to start here where the little yellow line is, and I'm going to paint little streaks up. Leave a spot, make a dark area, move it up, leave a different size space, paint a smaller streak up. And then I'm going to take water and I'm going to soften the tops of all of those. Maybe some blue in it. I think I'm going to take some manganese blue or cerulean or a little bit of both and just add it to the top of those spots. I kind of like those. I think I need to smudge them just a little bit so that I'm just going to use my finger and dab them a little bit and get them to not be so perfect. If I can get it to look more like messy ice. Yeah, I like that better, just smudgy. I got a nice round ice mound right there. I don't think I want that to be so nice and flat. So I'm going to take some of that blue and purple and just change the shape by painting over it. Probably not dark enough. I got to make a little more. Make some divots. Oops. And then just smudge that new line, the new not so straight line up. I don't know if I helped it or not. Maybe when I look at the computer screen, I can see my eye going to this white corner here. So what I'm going to do is make more purple. A little bit of the blues in it. And I'm just going to use the belly of the brush and just sort of darken in this corner so that it catches some of the paper, but not all of it. And the same over here. Makes it like you don't want to walk over that. I think I could stop right here, although you guys like to see what I would do next, so I'm going to keep going. I'm going to add something more to the lake. I'm going to make more of a horizon line. So I'm going to rinse my brush out really well because you can't. So in the email, I said that you can't mix yellow and purple. So you have to, every time you switch from yellow to purple, you've got to rinse your brush out 100%. It's got to be so clean. And when you're painting it, you can paint with the two colors, but you can't let them mix. So the only place I let them mix was in the sky. And that was, I just left a purple streak, and one more brush stroke, and then I stopped. Then I dried it and I worked it. So that's what I meant when you can get mud really fast. Right now, my brush is clean. I'm going to go into my yellow puddle and I'm going to try to put in a little bit more of a horizon line. And I'm using all horizontal streaks because this is water. Going all the way from the purple to the purple. I'll do it over here a little bit too. And then this line up here is very bright in the photograph. And I can see my pencil mark. So I feel like I need to add, I'm going to just try it and just add a kind of a wet line across that there. To try to get rid of the pencil mark more than anything. A little quinacridone gold and burnt sienna. It made sort of a streak right there. but it sure doesn't look like it's part of the cloud. You know, it's a piece of paper. I'm going to try again. Now I'm going to paint with water. I might have muffed it all up because I just couldn't leave it alone. I think I'll stop. Does anybody have any questions? Or they painted and can show us their painting?
I painted.
Okay, Doris, you go first. Penny's waiting in the wings.
Okay, I'm just trying to make it so that I can see everything here. All right.
Nice.
Wow. Yay.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh, yes. It's way better than the photograph. Hold it up a little bit more and I'll talk about some parts that I really like. So I like your sky and your water, that they're very simple. And I like where you left the white at the top of that first ice pack from the foreground up. You left that nice white. It's very eye-catching and it's very nice. Your negative shapes behind that are beautiful. I really like those dark hills on the right-hand side. You did a great job with that. And all your painting with water is really good. So it's more beautiful than the photograph. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Okay, Penny. Beautiful.
Very nice.
Yeah. You did such a good job with using yellow and purple.
I still have a really hard time with one eye, but can I show you one more?
Yes.
We're talking about orange skies, and I thought of doing this one in trees.
Yeah, look at that.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the orange skies are sort of jarring and they just kind of get in your head. You know, it's good that we're painting them. And I like that green in your tree. It's so much brighter than the orange. So it makes a real dichotomy. Vicki, you look like you have a painting to show. Is that correct?
Nice.
Wow.
Looks like it's floating in the clouds.
Yeah, so good. Your yellows and purples. And all your painting with water, very good. And you left some light areas. Yep, yours is better than the picture too. Really nice. Really nice. And you painted fast and big. Very good. Nina?
I just watched today. Very interesting.
Okay. Getty?
I'm going to paint it later.
No, I'm
but
not.
I just watched.
Okay.
I was too slow.
That's okay. We get it. Well, I think that the paintings are great and I look forward to seeing Nina's and Fran's later. I'll let you know about this video when it comes up, and I thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you, Mary Kay.
Thank you, Mary Kay.
You are so welcome.